Hey guys, this is Rory Van Vliet. We ruffled a few feathers by making a video about law enforcement techniques that just don't work. I'll link to it here somewhere.
Yeah.
Rory, we were talking about how the best place to be in a fight is to be behind the guy. So
Yes.
what have you found in your corrections work, in your security work, in your loss prevention work, and in your bouncing work? How did you get behind people?
One technique I used all the time at all those jobs was the arm drag. And there's been a few guys that I've talked to that have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu experience that also work, whether it's corrections or especially bouncing, where the arm drag is one of the best moves that we can use. It's a move that, one, works whether we're standing, kneeling, or sitting, depending. So like when we're looking at just from like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at all the different ranges we can use it at, it works. And there's a lot of different ways we can incorporate it. What we're looking at doing is getting some rotational control from my right shoulder to your right shoulder so that I'm able to make you turn to the side so that I can cross the center line and manage to get to the back. How do we make this happen? What's great about the arm drag is that there's a lot of different ways we can go about it, but if we're looking at it from like this kind of perspective where, yeah, the hands are coming up, if it's striking, that's going to be much more difficult when we're going to have to like level change or duck under, or we're going to look at going to like the front body lock. But especially here, if the hands are going to come up, this is why this stuff starts to work so well, especially in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. What I'm looking at doing is controlling the end of Stephan's arm here, the end of the lever. We like to get a grip of the hand here, kind of like we're going to try and do this wrist lock grab. But what I'm doing is just getting the lever control.
So you're just grabbing the meat of the thumb.
Grabbing the meat of the thumb on the back of your hand here, because what I'm able to do is not look for the wrist lock, but I am able to create a slight bend in your wrist, and it's going to make it harder for you to re-grip, and it's also giving me a very strong lever control. However, grabbing the end of the wrist here like this with this grip, or grabbing it here with this grip, or even if you got a grip of my own wrist, I can still start to look at make the arm drag work. It becomes very versatile. What I need to do is I need to get now to the second lever, which is going to be here at the elbow, so that I have the lever to the shoulder. So as I push this arm in, what I want to do is push the arm into your hip so that I start creating an open elbow and a hinge-like effect here, so that as I reach through with a monkey grip, no thumb, to the back of Stephan's elbow, this is going to be the best lever control, but anywhere you end up hitting here is going to work within the heat of the moment most of the time. Grabbing here, and I'm looking to start pulling this arm across my center line. I do not let go of this arm preferably until I start to get his elbow past my center line here, which is going to be the line that slices me down in half here, symmetrical. So here, as I pulled this arm across, I'm creating this row, and I'm going to be stepping in deep with my right leg here, like this. This can sometimes be tripping Stephan up. We're usually looking to try and step in like this, because we're looking to try and take away space from our opponents so that they're unable to turn back into us. However, depending on your experience with like this technique and like grappling, we are able to absolutely just move right around our opponent, but there becomes more space. And as there's more space, there's more risk of you now being able to try and run away from me. I do not like the style of arm drags preferably where we're just grabbing and kind of meeting like this grip like this, where I haven't affected Stephan's structure very much, which is the efficient, effective positioning of his limbs. He's still got the strong row. There's the risk of him getting a mirrored grip, and now we're both in a very similar, we're in a similar situation, so I kind of put myself at risk. If I can push this arm in and get this effect of this open elbow, if Stephan tries to move his arm around right now, it's very difficult for him to make any kind of counter grip and for me to pull this across. So from here, as soon as there's becoming any kind of contact, I'm taking an arm and pushing it in. As soon as I'm stepping in, I'm taking this hand and I'm reaching over to Stephan's hip, and I'm looking to hook onto his hip bone here. There's going to be that sharp point, like a ledge, for me to grab onto. You can grab the pants or the shorts or something like that. I don't like training it like that because sometimes you're not going to have clothing to grab onto, and if you become reliant on that, then you're going to not be able to handle necessarily every situation you come across where that hip bone is always there for me to grab onto. So here, as I push the arm in, I step in, bring my hip to Stephan's hip, and I grab to the hip here, and I bring my hips nice and tight. By me keeping this grip with this monkey grip against his bicep down at his elbow, having my chest tight to him, I can even bring my chin over to his back here because I'm starting to move to back control. I'm looking to eliminate space so that as Stephan tries to move and turn either direction, He's unable to create the space because I have direct rotational control of his body. This is where I like a grappling-based approach more than trying to use these takedowns and control schemes where we're trying to use one limb to somehow get reliable control over your entire body.
Like this kind of arm.
Yeah, being able to get like escort position, which is fine against some people, like depending on your size and strength advantage, or some people aren't going to fight you very much, and just getting that position so you can give them that little push along is plenty. It's also, I have less concern with an escort position if there's two officers, two staff being able to control either side, because if I control this arm, I stop you from being able to turn to your left. If you try to turn to the left right now, it doesn't really help him. But if he turns into me, that becomes a risk. Now, obviously, if this is controlled really well and I can jack this arm up, I can somewhat make it difficult for him to turn, but it's not guaranteed. But if somebody else is tying up that arm as well, then it's a great position for us to be able to work from to still have rotational control and not get in each other's way. Going to the back, the one downside of going to the back is that you become just like, it only works for the one person. It doesn't work as well when you have other officers there. Sometimes we're just going to go to the back control, put the person down, and then your partners will help out. But it can kind of get clumsy if you're not working well together with the other officers. The great thing with the arm drag is also that versatility, as I talked about. But yes, we are looking for this grip and getting that cross grip. But it can be done from a 2-on-1 like this. So if for some reason you had that escort control and your opponent starts trying to turn into you, rather than trying to focus on controlling that arm any further, we're just looking at even letting go of the wrist or guiding with both, but mostly taking this hand and guiding that elbow across. So as Stephan tries to turn into me, I'm able to go immediately to the hip and start controlling whether I'm going to a rear body lock or coming up into seatbelt control. I have done this. If you got that cross-armed and you're just kind of giving me attitude here, how do I start to create some rotation of his body? Here at the elbow and here to the cross shoulder, I'm able to actually start getting rotation of my opponent. So all I'm looking to do here, if I try to pull the arms out from here when Stephan keeps his arms in super tight to his body, it's very difficult to. But I can create that rotation and start moving to the back. So another way I've used this is off a handshake, which kind of becomes a bit manipulative and a trick. Not too often do you see people recommend using handshakes when we're looking at law enforcement or bouncing, if we're looking at this is going to be escalating and we think the guy's being a problem, because obviously this gives you this attachment to me. Right. But if I protect myself, do like to say the finger pointing to like align my knuckles so you can't crush my hand, I'm able to get the upper hand at this point by being able to now have this attachment of my right shoulder to your right shoulder to now create that pull to be able to pull you across. And because usually what ends up happening is as I whip your arm out and then bend it here, your arm's going to get bent like a wrist lock. And so if you try to counter grip me at any point here, it becomes very difficult for you to actually control me here. It's one of those things that's only going to work once on someone and they're not going to trust you again after that, or the guy's so drunk he's not even going to remember it. The only time I'd used this one was with guys that were regular customers at the bar that I worked at, and they would regularly just get completely shit-faced and I'd have to kick them out. And they never threw punches at me, but I got to know them and I knew that they would kind of be resistant and they'd get kind of agitated, because whenever you tell somebody that they've drank too much, everyone has a different opinion than you. And so being able to just go up to someone and be like, hey man, how's your night going? Okay, we gotta go for a walk. And just walking them out in a very calm way where I know it's not going to be a very like intense, violent altercation, but I know that they're going to give me a little bit of active resistance and I need to just get a little bit of an upper hand so I can pull them along. It'd be something that I use all the time. So being behind somebody is the best position that you can be against your attacker, because all their weapons are facing away from you. And in the next video, I'm going to show you guys how we can use the different forms of back control to control a standing opponent.